How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to a new video. So today we're going through the Myrmex from the Ice and Fire mod. Now I'll be going through things such as the different types of Myrmex, the trading, the Hive Control, and a couple of other things. So I will split it up into separate parts. So yeah, let's just get straight into it. So to start off with, there are 5 different types of Myrmex. So there's the Worker, the Soldier, the Sentinel, the Royal, and the Queen. Now these guys can be found in Myrmex hives, which can be found in either underground deserts or underground jungles. Because of where they are, they're desert Myrmex, but if they were in the jungle, they'll look a bit more green, and I'll show you that just now. Okay, so as you can see, these are all the jungle Myrmex. So yeah, they do look a bit different. As you can see, this is the Soldier, the Queen, this is the Royal. You also have the Sentinel, and you can also have the Worker, which isn't too different to the Soldier. So yeah, they all look pretty cool, but for this video I am going to go through the desert ones. So yeah, let's get to it. There are also some other types of Myrmex, which are the eggs, larvae, and pupae, something like that. So all of these will be hostile towards you unless you increase your reputation, and we'll get to reputation later in the video. However, the eggs, larvae, and pupae are all passive, so they won't attack you. So yeah, let's start with the Worker. So the Worker has 20 health points, which is 10 hearts. They will attack any intruder by biting them, which will deal around 3 health points of damage, which is 1.5 heart. And they'll also sting you, so let me show you what I mean. There we go. So as you can see, it's doing quite a bit of damage to me, and he's poisoning me constantly. So it gives you poison 3 for about 10 seconds for each hit. So yeah, be careful around him. If you're very unprepared, you will die by him quite fast. So if you do manage to kill one of these, they will drop 0 to 2 pieces of Myrmex chitin, 0 to 1 pieces of resin chunks, or 0 to 1 Myrmex stingers. So these guys will often leave the hive to find food, harvest leaves for saplings and things like that, and then bring it back to their hive to store in cocoons in food rooms. Now they do occasionally carry eggs, larvae, and pupae from the Queen's residence to the nursery rooms as well. So that's quite a cool feature. So we'll get on to more of the Worker later in the video. So let's move on to the Soldier. So the next Myrmex we have is the Myrmex Soldier. Now these guys have 40 health points, which is 20 hearts, and they will also attack any intruder by dealing 6 health points of damage, and they'll also inflict poison 3 for 9 or 10 seconds. So if I quickly show you, there you go, they deal quite a bit of damage, like so. So yeah, you got to be very careful around them, and they will be with the workers, so they are basically there to protect the workers, but they will also kill prey, which will actually help the worker find food. So yeah, those two, they work well together, and the amount of damage they both deal, you'll be in a lot of trouble, you could say. So if you do manage to kill one of these, it will either drop 0 to 3 Myrmex chitin, 0 to 3 resin chunks, or they'll have a chance to drop a stinger. Now we'll get on to basically later what you can craft with their drops, so let's move on to the next Myrmex. So the next Myrmex we have is the Myrmex Sentinel. Now these guys have 60 health points, which is 30 hearts. They'll attack any intruder by biting them, dealing 9 health points of damage, which is 4.5 hearts, and inflicting poison for 4 seconds during their sting. So this will probably kill me. Okay, I didn't actually know he did that. So they seem to grab you and basically eat you, which is really strange. Yeah, this is quite terrifying. Yeah, you can get out of this by just pressing left shift, and you can dismount. However, yeah, it will be like that. You have to be very careful around these things. So yeah, they'll poison you, giving you poison 4 for 4 seconds using their sting, and they will deal 9 health points worth of damage if they decide not to grab you and start eating you. But as you saw, they did about half a heart of damage every half a second. So yeah, they're quite dangerous. If you do manage to kill one, it can either drop 0 to 4 chitin, 0 to 4 resin chunks, or 1 stinger. So a cool thing about these Sentinels is that they'll actually stay near the entrance of a hive, and they'll camouflage itself into a block depending on where the hive is located. So because it's in the desert, it will go into sand, and if it's in a jungle, it will go into leaves. And once a prey or an enemy gets close, it will jump out and attack. But yeah, these are considered the deadliest of the Myrmex, so you have to be very careful around them. So this is what I mean by it will camouflage itself. It does camouflage itself quite well. So if I go over here and I basically turn into survival, you can see the Myrmex sort of jumped out of it, and yeah, he's coming to attack me. So is this one. Okay, let's that didn't work. All right, you saw it. They will jump out of the camouflage and start chasing you pretty much. So yeah, that's pretty much the basics about the Sentinel. So let's move on to the next Myrmex. So the next of the Myrmex we have is the Myrmex Royal. Now these guys have 50 health points, which is around 25 hearts. So these guys are basically the means of reproduction in the hive. So when they leave the hive, they will look to basically find a mate. So when it does go out to look for a mate, it won't be hostile to any player unless you do hit it. However, it will attack you if it isn't looking for a mate. And once these guys are bred, one of the royals will die and a queen appears, which will then dig into the ground and create a new colony. So when they do attack you, they will deal damage to you by 6 health points, which is 3 hearts, and they'll also use their sting to poison you for 3 seconds. So let me show you what I mean. There we go. Yeah, that was expected. So basically, I died quickly there because there was 2 of them. So yeah, they do actually do quite a bit of damage, even though there's 2 of them. If you manage to kill one, it will drop 0 to 5 Myrmex chitin, 1 to 6 resin chunks, and 0 to 1 stingers. So that's pretty much the basics of the Myrmex Royal. So let's move on to the last Myrmex. So the last of the Myrmex we have is the Myrmex Queen. Now these have 120 health points, which is 60 hearts. They will attack any intruder by biting them, and they'll deal around 10 health points of damage, which is 5 hearts, and they'll also use their sting to deal poison 3 for 9 seconds, and her attacks deal massive knockback. So if I quickly show you what I mean, I'll go out here and show you one. Crawl over to me slowly. Yeah, she kills you instantly, it turns out. Okay, that was, Jesus. Man, they really need to update their wiki. But you saw, I was there, I ended up dead up there. It does massive knockback. If you manage to kill her, what she'll drop is 5 to 12 pieces of chitin, 5 to 12 pieces of resin chunks, or 0 to 1 stingers. Now, the queen will walk around her room and constantly lay eggs, and basically, without the queen, reproduction will stop, and the workers will stop being as efficient as they pretty much are at the moment. They'll slow down, take more time to get resources, okay, so there's an egg. They'll pretty much, the colony will pretty much crumble when she dies. But yeah, so that's pretty much the basics of all the Myrmex. As you can see, they look pretty amazing. The way these are done is also amazing. I mean, they have their own little colony, and we'll basically get onto more things about the Myrmex in the video. So let's move on to what can be used with the drops that they all drop. Okay, so as you can see, you can actually craft quite a bit with all their drops. So with the Myrmex chitin, you can create a load of different tools along with wither bones. Now, wither bones can be dropped by wither skeletons in the nether. So the sword up to the hoe, these can all be crafted with just chitin and wither bones. So to craft them, it's like any other regular vanilla tool. It literally is just a stick is replaced with a wither bone, and the material would be the Myrmex chitin. As you can see, there are 2 different types. There's the jungle tools, which are more like bluish and greenish and look a bit like that, and this is how you craft most of them. The same with the desert Myrmex chitin. They're all pretty much yellow. So this goes the same with armor. Desert Myrmex chitin can just be used to create any types of desert Myrmex chitin armor. You will need to craft this just like any other vanilla armor piece, and I'll basically show you what it's like having it on. So yeah, this is the desert Myrmex chitin armor. You actually look really cool. I actually like the look of this. And this does actually give you a full set of armor pieces, which is the same as diamond armor. Obviously, this is very hard to get because you actually have to find a Myrmex hive and kill enough Myrmex to get enough chitin to create this armor. But yeah, I'll also quickly show you now what the jungle one looks like. So I actually like this more. This looks really cool, actually. It does exactly the same as the desert Myrmex chitin armor. It gives you a full set of armor pieces. So it's the same as diamond armor. Obviously, it's just harder to get, like I said, because you have to find a hive within the jungle. So another thing you can craft with the Myrmex chitin and the Myrmex stinger is a Myrmex staff. So you can craft this as a desert Myrmex staff or a jungle Myrmex staff, and you basically just craft it like so. So you need 2 wither bones like so, 3 Myrmex chitin and a stinger, and it's exactly the same except from you just need desert Myrmex chitin instead of jungle Myrmex chitin for the different types of staffs. So another thing that the Myrmex drop is chunks. So the chunks can be used to create a couple of things, which is the Myrmex resin, a sticky Myrmex resin, or a hardened Myrmex resin. So the desert one is exactly the same as the jungle, except from the desert is more orange and the jungle is more green. Now, the chitin is also actually used to increase your reputation with the Myrmex. So we'll get onto that a bit later when we go through the whole of the reputation and how that works. So the final drop that the Myrmex drop is the Myrmex stinger. Now, the Myrmex stinger can be used to create the Myrmex stinger sword, which basically gives you +4 damage against arthropods and deathworms, as it says there. But yeah, all you need to craft this is with a bone underneath some Myrmex chitin, and then you need to put the stinger above the Myrmex chitin, and you basically got yourself a stinger sword. So these can actually be quite useful. So they have 5 attack damage, which is 2.5 hearts, 1.6 attack speed, so it's a little bit slow, but it's still pretty powerful considering. But yeah, apart from that, there's not much else you can craft with any of the drops that the Myrmex drop. So the next part of the video, we're going to go and explore the reputation. So reputation in a Myrmex hive actually brings benefits to you. So basically, to increase it, you need to feed or basically drop some Myrmex chunks towards the Myrmex workers, and they'll basically take it into their home, and they'll keep coming back in and out. There you go. So basically, what you need to do is throw the chitin down every so often, and the Myrmex will actually pick it up. And basically, every resin chunk gives you +5 reputation. So say if I throw one in now, if they take it and they put it into their hive, you'll give yourself +5 reputation. More ways you can actually increase your reputation is by trading with them. So completing a trade, you'll get +2 reputation. Unlocking a new trade, you will get a +1 reputation. However, you can also lose reputation. So if you attack a Myrmex soldier, you get -5. If you attack a Myrmex royal, you'll get a -10. If you attack a Myrmex queen, -15. And if you kill any type of Myrmex, you'll get -15 as well. So it works both ways, to be honest with you. So you got to be nice to them to have your reputation increase. When you find a Myrmex hive, your reputation will automatically start at 0, and everything will be hostile towards you. At 25, all Myrmex in the hive will actually turn neutral towards you. At 50, all Myrmex will actually become tradable. At 75, you'll be able to control the hive using the Myrmex staff, and you can just reach a maximum of 100. So once you get to 100, you can't increase your reputation anymore, but it doesn't give you any extra benefits. Reputation isn't actually shared by players, so if you have a friend who's playing with you, you both have to work to get your own reputation. So say if I had a friend here and I was already at maybe reputation 50, he would still be at reputation 0 because he's done nothing to gain the Myrmex trust. Also, when you do lose reputation, so say if I was at 50 and they were all willing to trade, if I go below 50 by either attacking or killing a Myrmex, I will lose that benefit of trading. So yeah, you just got to keep the Myrmex happy to basically keep your benefits. Apart from that, there's not much else to reputation, so let's go to the trading section. So as I said, when you reach reputation 50, you can actually start trading with the Myrmex. And as I've said, successful trade will then give you an extra reputation as well as unlocking a new trade. So I will be showing you basically all the different types of trading that can take place and what they'll sell. And this will go for both desert and jungle Myrmex. So if we start with the desert Myrmex, so the Myrmex worker in the desert, at level 1, you will need to trade 32 to 64 dirt to gain 1 to 2 resin chunks. You'll also need 32 to 64 sand for 1 to 2 resin chunks. Now once you've upgraded the Myrmex worker, it will start to ask for 7 to 10 dead bush, and if you give them this, you'll get 1 to 2 resin chunks. And once you've upgraded them further to level 3, you will need 10 to 14 iron ore, and it will give you 1 to 4 resin chunks. And then the maximum level which the Myrmex worker can go to is level 4. Now with the level 4 Myrmex worker, you will need 1 to 5 desert resin chunks to gain 5 to 14 bone, and you'll also need 5 to 8 sugar to get 1 to 2 resin chunks. I believe this is it. I'm going off of the Ice and Fire wiki, so it might have been updated since then, but this is basically what I'm going off of. So the next one we have is the Desert Myrmex Soldier. So at level 1, it will trade with you 2 to 3 resin chunks, and they will give you 17 to 15 bone. You will also need to have 2 to 3 resin chunks to get 2 to 3 feathers. They'll sell 3 string for 1 resin chunk. So once the Myrmex Soldier is upgraded, he'll start selling more things. So you'll need to give him 5 to 7 resin chunks to get 2 to 3 gunpowder, 4 to 6 resin chunks for 1 raw rabbit, or 1 to 3 resin chunks for 2 to 3 cactus green. Once you upgrade him further to level 3, you'll need to give him 1 to 3 resin chunks to give you 1 to 2 iron nuggets, and 3 to 6 resin chunks for 1 raw chicken. You can upgrade him even further to level 4, where you can trade with him 1 to 3 resin chunks for 1 to 2 golden nuggets, and 1 to 2 resin chunks for 1 to 3 silver nuggets. Now the highest you can upgrade the Myrmex Soldier is the level 5, which you can trade with him 1 troll tusk for 6 to 13 desert resin chunks. So the next Myrmex we have is the Myrmex Sentinels. For the desert Myrmex Sentinels, at level 1 we'll trade 1 spider eye for 1 to 2 resin chunks, and 3 to 4 redstone to 2 to 4 resin chunks. And once you upgrade the Myrmex Sentinels to level 2, you can trade 3 resin chunks for 1 egg, 3 to 6 resin chunks for 1 raw pork chop, 3 to 5 resin chunks for 1 raw beef, 4 to 7 resin chunks for 1 raw mutton. You can upgrade the Myrmex Soldier to level 3 for 1 poisonous potato, and he will give you 10 to 20 resin chunks. Level 4, if you trade with him 1 puffer fish, he will give you 7 to 10 resin chunks, and the maximum level for a Myrmex Sentinel is level 5, and if you give him 27 to 50 resin chunks, you can get yourself a skeleton skull. So the next Myrmex you can trade with is the Myrmex Royal. So for the Desert Myrmex Royal, you can trade 1 manuscript for 4 to 5 resin chunks. Once you upgrade him to level 2, you can trade 2 to 4 golden ingots to 6 to 7 resin chunks, and 1 to 4 silver ingots to 6 to 8 resin chunks. You can upgrade the Myrmex Royal trading to level 3, where you can trade 5 to 10 resin chunks for 1 rabbit foot. You can then also upgrade the Myrmex Royal even further to level 4, where you can trade 10 to 14 resin chunks for 1 ender pearl, and 6 to 7 resin chunks for 1 wither bone shard. Now you can upgrade the Myrmex Royal even further to level 5, where you can trade 9 to 15 resin chunks for 1 magma cream, 7 to 11 resin chunks for 1 nether quartz, and then you can upgrade the trading even further to level 6, where you can trade 16 to 20 resin chunks for 1 golden carrot, and the maximum level for Myrmex Royal is level 7, where you can trade 22 to 26 resin chunks for 1 emerald. So the final Myrmex that you can trade with is the Myrmex Queen. Now with the Desert Myrmex Queen, at level 1 you can trade 1 to 10 resin chunks for 1 Myrmex Worker egg. At level 2 you can trade 15 to 20 resin chunks for 1 Myrmex Soldier egg. At level 3, 22 to 27 resin chunks for 1 Royal egg. At level 4, 31 to 37 resin chunks for 1 Myrmex Sentinel egg. And the maximum level is level 5, where you can trade 52 to 61 resin chunks for 1 Myrmex Queen egg. So now we'll move on to the jungle trading. Now with the jungle trading, it works pretty much the same like the desert one, except from there's a couple things that are different with the Myrmex workers and the Myrmex soldiers. So with the jungle Myrmex workers, you can trade 32 to 64 dirt for 1 to 2 resin chunks. At level 2, you can trade 12 to 14 melon for 1 to 2 resin chunks. Level 3, 10 to 14 gold ore for 1 to 4 resin chunks. And for level 4, you can trade 1 to 5 jungle resin chunks for 5 to 14 bone, and 5 to 8 sugar for 1 to 2 resin chunks. So for the jungle Myrmex soldier, you can trade 2 to 3 resin chunks for 7 to 15 bone, 2 to 3 resin chunks for 2 to 3 feathers, and 1 resin chunk for 1 to 2 string. At level 2, you can trade 5 to 7 resin chunks to 2 to 3 gunpowder, 4 to 6 resin chunks for 1 raw rabbit, 2 to 3 resin chunks for 2 to 3 cocoa beans, and then once you upgrade the Myrmex soldier to level 3, you can trade 1 to 3 resin chunks, 1 to 2 iron nuggets, and you can also trade 3 to 6 resin chunks for 1 raw chicken. At level 4, you can trade 1 to 3 resin chunks for 1 to 3 gold nuggets, and 1 to 2 resin chunks for 1 to 3 silver nuggets. And at level 5, you can trade 1 troll tusk for 6 to 13 resin chunks. So when you're trading with the jungle Myrmex sentinels, ignore that. You'll need to trade 1 spider eye for 1 to 2 resin chunks, and 3 to 4 redstone for 2 to 4 resin chunks. At level 2, you'll need to trade 3 resin chunks for 1 egg, 3 to 6 resin chunks for 1 raw pork chop, 3 to 5 resin chunks for 1 raw beef, and 4 to 7 resin chunks for 1 raw mutton. At level 3, you will need to trade 1 poisonous potato for 10 to 20 resin chunks. Level 4, 1 puffer fish for 7 to 10 resin chunks. And finally, level 5, you'll need to trade 27 to 50 resin chunks for 1 skeleton skull. So if we move on to the jungle Myrmex royals, you'll need to trade 1 manuscript for 4 to 5 resin chunks. For level 2, 2 to 4 gold ingots, 6 to 7 resin chunks, and 1 to 4 silver ingots for 6 to 8 resin chunks. For level 3, you'll need to trade 5 to 10 resin chunks for 1 rabbit's foot. Level 4, 10 to 14 resin chunks for 1 ender pearl, 6 to 7 resin chunks for 1 wither bone shard. At level 5, you'll need to trade 9 to 15 resin chunks for 1 magma cream, and 7 to 11 resin chunks for 1 nether quartz. At level 6, you need to trade 16 to 20 resin chunks for 1 golden carrot. Last but not least, at level 7, you can trade 22 to 26 resin chunks for 1 emerald. So last but not least, we have the Myrmex Queen. So to trade with the Myrmex Queen, at level 1, you'll need 1 to 10 resin chunks to get 1 Myrmex worker egg. Level 2, you'll need 15 to 20 resin chunks for 1 Myrmex soldier egg. Level 3, 22 to 27 resin chunks for 1 royal egg. Level 4, 31 to 37 resin chunks for 1 sentinel egg, and 52 to 61 resin chunks for 1 Myrmex queen egg. So when you basically do trade with the Myrmex, it is pretty much exactly like the villager trading. I'm sorry I can't really show you, the Myrmex is very glitchy on this. I don't know why they're not working. Okay, so for some reason this is really glitched. I have no idea what's going on. I think the trading in this mod is very glitched because as you can see I'm right clicking and it's literally just going on and off. I have no idea. But if I get a screenshot of it, you can see there are many different types of ways you can trade with these guys. So yeah, that's basically the trading in this game. I have no idea why it's not working. It's very, very frustrating. So let's just let's move on to Hive Control. So once you hit a reputation of 75, you can actually control the hive with a Myrmex staff corresponding to what biome it's in. So if it's a desert hive, you need the desert staff. For a jungle hive, you need the jungle staff. So this is basically how you would create one. So you need 2 wither bones, 3 chitin, and 1 stinger, and you basically get to control it. So let me show you how you do it. So when you have a colony, what you'll need to do is find the queen and right click on it. And once you right click on the queen, this staff will then be set to that queen's hive. So the queen is currently all the way out over here. For some reason. Not sure what happened to the other queen that the hive spawned with. So with the hive, you can actually create and delete certain rooms, and you can also stop the queen's reproduction. So to do this, you literally just need to right click on the Myrmex room and you'll get this sort of screen. So this is where you can actually control the whole hive from wherever you want. So you can see disable reproduction. If you click that, the queen will no longer produce any more workers or any more types of Myrmex. You can actually delete certain rooms. So the food room is located here, the nursery room is located here, entrance and the entrance bottom. However, if you shift right click on the hive, you can actually create certain rooms. So say if you dig through here and you wanted to create a new room, what you could do is literally shift right click, says create new room at, which is your current position, and create food room. So this is basically where all the workers will go to deliver the food. Obviously it's meant to be more spacious and you're supposed to create a proper hive sort of thing. However, I'm basically showing you what it does. And if you wanted to delete the room, and you just delete the room, so it would be this one. So this place here would no longer be where all the Myrmex bring their food. And this goes the same for any other area that you want to create a new entrance or create a new nursery. It goes for all of that. So yeah, that's pretty much the hive control. I'm sorry it's a bit like confusing. It is very confusing, but I hope you understand it a bit better. So it won't actually create a full massive ass room for you. You will have to create the room yourself. Now the final part of this video is hatching. So if you manage to get yourself a Myrmex queen egg, it will actually bond with you and you will permanently have 100 reputation within the hive when it eventually creates one. Once this egg hatches, it will become a queen and it will dig down to make its own hive, and any other egg that you hatch, maybe it's the worker egg or the royal egg, they will all be neutral to players. So there's not really too much to hatching. It is just a matter of waiting for it to happen. But yeah, that's pretty much it. You could literally, like I just put there, you can literally just place the egg like so. And apart from that, there's not much else to the Myrmex. So yeah, let's end the video. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like I've said before, I'm really sorry that this isn't like the best video in the world. These Myrmex, they're very glitchy. As you saw, there were so many Myrmex that were just piling into each other, not knowing where to put the food, where to put the sticks, any sort of materials when they were supposed to be putting it in certain rooms. And I'm very sorry that it's not really been the best in the world, but I can't make it any better. But yeah, we are creeping ever so closely to 1,000 subscribers, and I can't thank you all enough for it. You guys are the best. Thank you so much. The Discord will be opening very, very soon, even though I've not completely finished it. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I really do appreciate it. And I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.